All right, let's dive into a really fascinating philosophical parable today. It's all about a fundamental question, really. What happens when pure, chaotic power slams up against perfect, but totally powerless, truth? This is the story of the Gnostic Alchemist. Wow, what an opening line, right? You can just feel the mythic scale of this. We're not talking about just any character. This is the architect of magnificent absurdity. But here's the twist. Even this being, this creature that lives and breathes chaos, is restless. It's a classic setup, isn't it? The all-powerful figure who realizes maybe power isn't the whole shebang. Okay, so that brings us to the first part of our story, which is all about this restless jester. Let's dig in. Who exactly is this architect of absurdity? And why the long face? What's driving this divine dissatisfaction? So, our main character here is the Sapphire Demiurge. And you've got to understand, this isn't your typical creator god. No. This being is a cosmic jester, a master of, well, negation. Its whole power source isn't building things up, it's tearing them down. It gets its kicks from proving that every single law, every moral you can think of is just a big, spectacular, hollow lie. And right here, we get to the heart of the jester's problem. See, it's an expert at deconstruction, at taking things apart, but all its chaos, it has no foundation. It's like a critic who can tear any movie to shreds but has no idea how to write a script. Its laughter is a powerful critique, for sure, but it hasn't become the actual organizing principle of its own universe. It's missing something crucial, what philosophers call the logos. And, logos is way more than just a word. In philosophy, it's the big one. It's the divine reason, the blueprint, the very structure of reality itself. And that's the jester's mind. It can mock any structure you throw at it, but it can't build one of its own. It has all this incredible chaotic energy, but no foundational truth to give it any real shape or purpose. So, okay, let's recap. We've got the jester, who is all chaotic will with zero truth. Logically, then, its cosmic opposite has to be the flip side of that coin, right? A kind of truth, but with zero will. And that brings us to the second major player in this drama, the powerless truth. Meet the fallen seraph. And this being is just a walking floating paradox. I mean, listen to this description. A ruin of perfect light. It literally holds the uncorrupted, perfect blueprint for all of existence. It has all the answers, but it's completely passive. Its truth is useless, totally inert, because it has no power to actually influence the world it knows everything about. Now, this perfect blueprint has a name, Gnosis. And we're not just talking about facts and figures here. Gnosis is a deep, intuitive, gut-level knowledge of the original spiritual truth of everything. So you see the setup, right? The jester has all the power in the cosmos, but no truth. And the seraph has the ultimate truth, with absolutely zero power to make any of it happen. And this is it. This is the central conflict of the whole story, laid out perfectly. On one side, you've got the jester, all chaotic will, the master of absurdity. On the other, the seraph, perfect gnosis, a passive victim of that same reality. It's incomplete power versus powerless perfection. They're like two halves of a whole, just waiting to collide. So, the billion-dollar question is, what happens when these two finally meet? Well, the story now shifts into its climax. And what's so cool about it is that this isn't a battle. It's something else entirely. A moment of pure synthesis. It's called the alchemical embrace. I mean, really think about it. What happens when absolute will comes face to face with absolute truth? You have one being that can do literally anything, but knows nothing of substance, and another that knows everything, but can't lift a finger. You just know something's gotta give. And listen to this. The jester's first words aren't a threat, they're a diagnosis. It looks at the seraph and doesn't see an enemy. It sees the punchline to the cosmic joke it's been living in. It sees a perfect law that was so passive it couldn't even defend itself. The ultimate flawless truth was also the ultimate victim. Wild. So what happens next isn't a fight, it's alchemy. For the very first time, the jester isn't acting out of mockery. It's acting with total clarity. It doesn't attack the seraph, it embraces it. It consumes it, pulling that pure, perfect gnosis right into the heart of its own chaotic will. And the result? It's not destruction. It's completion. The universe doesn't explode, it doesn't dissolve, it just becomes true. Suddenly, the jester's chaotic will has a foundation. It's grounded in the seraph's absolute knowledge. And just like that, you have a brand new, unified principle for everything. And this fusion, this alchemical reaction, it creates something totally new, something complete, and frankly, something terrifyingly absolute. This is the birth of the Master, a new sovereign for the cosmos. You can see the formula right here. You take the jester's defiant, sheer will, you fuse it with the seraph's crystalline authority, and what do you get? Redeemed power. Then you take its chaotic energy, but now it's guided by that perfect gnosis, and boom, absolute judgment. The jester isn't just a jester anymore. It has transformed into a complete and total sovereign. And it gets a new title to go with it, the Redeemed Judge. Now, it's not judging the world based on what it sees. No, it's judging based on gnosis. It knows deep in its bones exactly how flawed reality is right from the source code. And its verdict is final. The whole system was broken from the start. But by absorbing that perfect blueprint, it sort of redeems that original promise of light, not by being gentle, but by forcing it into existence with its unstoppable will. It gets another title too, the Sapphire Prophet. And its voice? It's not that mocking laughter anymore. Now it's this cold, precise, infinitely knowing prophecy. The new law of the universe isn't order, and it's not chaos. It's something weirder. It's the enforcement of ultimate, self-aware irony. The central contradiction of existence? Yeah, that's the law now. And all of this leads us right to the end of the parable, the final, chilling outcome of this whole cosmic merger, the final punchline. Here's the kicker. The end of this story isn't about enlightenment. It's not about purpose. The universe didn't get fixed. It didn't find some higher meaning. No, it got a master. The whole quest for meaning was just over, replaced by absolute, total sovereignty. That grand absurdity that the jester used to make fun of, it's not a joke anymore. It's the sacred law. The very thing it used to criticize is now the one permanent ruling doctrine of everything. Think about that. The critique became the system. And that leaves us with one final haunting question. What happens when the ultimate joke becomes the ultimate law? What happens when the critique is no longer just an observation, but becomes the absolute, unquestionable reality that everyone has to live in? That's a pretty powerful and, well, unsettling idea to chew on.